So I was watching a video which had come up in my feed, and someone had Sarah Ogborn had commented that she wanted to see more library book hauls. Now, I need to return most of these, but this feels like I have found the niche that I have been wanting to talk about because I don't see many people doing library book hauls, and this curious fellow who's like, yep, this is Irene, and despite his name, he is in fact a male tabby. But he will be with us while we go over my library book haul. Most of these I have read, so I'll be showing you the books that I have read first, and then I'll show you the ones that I currently need to work my way through. So without further ado, let's get into it. First book that I picked up was Page Boy by Elliot Page, because when I found out that so for those of you who don't know, Elliot came out as trans whilst filming The Umbrella Academy, and there was a lot of backlash because the creator behind it, The Umbrella Academy, adjusted the role so that the white violin was a man. Which I absolutely loved because we got to see the transition with Elliot through the filming career as well. But I also had to pick up this book. I do need to reread it. I can't remember most of it. I just know I really enjoyed the read, and it's really nice to see other perspectives on life. So this one was one of my 5-star reads. The next book, or should I say, should I say a few books? I don't know. I read book 1 and 2 of Scott Pilgrim, and so I had to get the 3, 4 and 5. I forgot to return. I actually already had 3 and 4 on loan when I last went, and I decided to get book 5 while I was there, but I couldn't find where I put 3 and 4, which is why I've got all of them. Now this, I'll be honest, the writing is rubbish, but it's funny rubbish, so it's not bad in a way that, it's nothing to write home about, but it is also very comedic in the way that these plots unravel. I'm not a big fan on the plot, but I am a fan of the chaos and how everything unfolds. Like Scott having to fight all these exes and then the fights and stuff. This cat likes biting my hand. Made this an enjoyable read for me, and I will continue to read it. I will also probably it will remain at a 3-star for me, but it is an enjoyable rubbish read. I've got I Hear the Sunspot, which was at my library. I've ordered book 2 and I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. This is my university library, and it's a book about a guy who's losing his hearing, and the crush he has on someone, and he's not too sure this person likes him back, but the other person is only just catching on that they might actually be in a relationship kinda, but isn't ready for it. So I'm interested to see how their arc continues. But it was a very deep read. You got to see how this guy struggled with his hearing loss and stuff like that. I've read this entire series now. I didn't realise this entire series was online. But Fiancé of the Wizard is a brilliant book series, and it's very... I did, for the most part, rate it 3, and then I rated the last book 5 because the world building is nothing brilliant, but it's good enough to keep me reading. I like the details, I love the art, I love the character tropes that are used throughout the series. It was absolutely brilliant. But at the same time, it wasn't top tier. There was much... This could have had a lot more world building put into it, shall we say. I feel like it wasn't there, and for me to rate 4 or 5, that has to be in it. But for a manga from 2019, this was brilliant. This was, it's light, it's fluff, it's easy to read through. The next book on my list that I bought in the library was Loveless by Alice Osman, and this was just, as someone who's also Aero Ace, brilliant. This literally... every part of my identity I felt was covered in this. There are people out there that see us as an internet made up thing. So it was brilliant to be able to, it's addressed in this book, which made it impressive to me. At the end, there's resources for people who want to know more about asexuality, which I also thought was brilliant. Just inclusion is something Alice Osman does well. I feel like I enjoy this book more than majority because of my personal ties to sexuality that the main character has. Next book, Death of a Salesman, because I'm trying to read more English literature, and I can honestly say I hated this book, but I did cry at the end. I did read it all. It's only a short one. I just felt like too much was going on and I couldn't understand the plot, and for how short it is, I needed to know what was going on. And I think part of the reason that I cried at the end with this book is because it reminded me of a couple of people that I've lost over the years. The main character, Willie, it reminded me of a lot of people who I've unfortunately lost to dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff before they passed. Very sad read. This one, also a sad read. This was a staff recommendation from the library, Goodbye Eri by Tatsuki Fujimoto. And it's very rare you see a manga where the story and the art are about the same person, but it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I thought it was very raw, the book. There's these 2 pages I didn't understand where they were just like blank, and some people will look at those pages and say they're not blank, but to me they were blank, just black squares. I feel like it was supposed to be there for dramatic effect, but it didn't really. It just confused me because it felt like a waste of paper. Oops. But this is another book I hold from my library, and I absolutely loved every single second of it. And the storyline and the fantasy element I loved. Also a lot of plot twists at the end. I was not expecting a lot of them. I thought it was joking. What else did I finish reading? Of Jade and Dragons, and I'm just going to say that Ying could have been a lot better. Strong, independent woman, you know, she could have been a lot better. Also, her main love interest in this book, 10 out of 10. That's the first time I've had a crush on a fictional boy in years, but I don't think I would have had the strength she did at the end of this book. I will just say that. She's a very strong woman in that sense. But for someone who's supposed to be strong and independent, she could not fight to save her life. Everyone's like all overpowered and a lot more stronger than her. This is still a book I'm going to recommend because this is Mulan meets steampunk for me. And I discovered a word called silk punk, which I'm like looking to see if there are more books out there, which I think is like, I think it's a term, as far as I'm aware, for when like Oriental cultures meet steampunk, and I love that in like shows and books. It's a brilliant niche that I'd love to read more of and see more of, and I cannot wait because this book's getting a sequel, and I'm hoping my library's going to get it, because if they don't, I'm going to buy it. I'm debating buying the, there was a special edition by some sort of book company for this book, and you can get but it's like a hardback with a beautiful dust sleeve, and it's signed by the author. Might have been Illuminati, I can't remember, but I'm debating buying it because there's so many of them on eBay at the moment for like 15 quid, whereas the original crate costs like 20. But it's like, I'd love to have that in my collection because I loved this book. Even though it's 4-star, I did put it as 5. But looking back at the world building was there, but the characters could have been wrote better. And I wouldn't have picked up on it because I was so in love with this book. If I hadn't read a couple of reviews, I got into more detail about the world building and stuff. And I was like, damn, the world building's there. The characters, not so much. Which was a shame because it's the only thing that let the book down, but it's still a 10 out of 10. It's still like a 5-star in my eyes, but on the count of like the realization of that when I think back on the character arcs as well, it could have been so much better. But I believe it's like a debut. This was a debut book for the author, so it's not going to be perfect. And then we have 4 more books. This one was on my to-read list, so when I saw it in my library, I picked it up, and I loved watching The Witcher. I loved reading the comics, so I've obviously got to read the novel. It just makes sense. I need to know how the book compares, because I just love The Witcher. I haven't played the video game. The game just looked like something I'd struggle with because I have really bad wrists these days. But next book. This one was not on my to be read list, but it ended up getting added to it because this is an author who's very popular in my local area. Sue H. Cunningham, who's also coming out with a new book soon, I believe. I've got it downstairs. I wish I brought the leaflet up with me. But Totally Deceased. Like, I don't even know what this book's about, but the fact that it's got the attention of so many people in my local area, and so many people in my local area are raving about this, I'm just like, I gotta read it, because I never hear anyone in my area talking about books. So for anyone in my local area to be talking about a book, I gotta read it. So yeah, no idea what it's about, but Tilly's heart is set on solving her own murder. I felt like that sounds brilliant, so yeah, that got picked up and added to my to be read list. I don't know, Irene. He's just sat like digging his claws into me because he's like, I just want to cuddle. Next one, The Boy in the Suit. Goodreads recommended this after I read a book, and I can't remember what book it was, but this got added straight to my to be read when I read it. 10-year-old Solo just wants to be normal. He wants a name that doesn't stand out. He dreams about a mum who doesn't get the big bad reds, but most of all he longs to stop crashing funerals for free food. Those 4 lines, I'll be honest, are pretty much what like got me to add this. So I don't know what this book's about, but those four phrases, I'm like, I need to know what this book's about. But yeah, so that's why that one's on my to be read. And then I needed more books on dragons, so this was in the children's section. And the dragons are female, which I rarely see in books. So I picked it up because I want to know how this dragon's going to be portrayed. Also, it's in the children's section, so I imagine this will be a lot easier for me than other books. I'll be able to breeze through this one. But the blurb doesn't really describe much about this book. I see dragons, I'm simple, I'll pick it up and read. There are 2 more books. 2 more? 1 more book from the library, which I don't have on me right now, but it's it's a Japanese literature book. I've really started getting into Japanese literature because Japanese literature has a very bizarre way of putting like quirky, it's just really quirky. So like the twists they have on a lot of the stories. So we've got the Cat Who Saved Books, by Sosuke Natsukawa, and I've halfway through the book apparently, so I will go back to reading that after I've done this video. And then the other book I got was Good Omens, by Terry Pratchett, and I picked that up because a lot of my mates have cosplayed the characters, so obviously I need to know. Now I could have watched the series on Netflix, but I'm boring, and quite often a lot of series I can't sit through and watch to the end. I get off put by him, my attention I just get bored. Whereas books I tend to be able to read till the end usually, so that my hopes was to better understand the worlds that my friends also love so much. But yeah, that's my book haul. If there are any books you think that I should be getting for my next time, or should keep an eye out for my library, let me know. I have put a couple of hits out at my library for a couple of books that I'm after reading, and they're trying to get a hold of quite a few books for me at the moment, because I am reading through a lot of these books like every day at the moment. But yeah, if you think there are any books that, if there's any books in this list that you like, let me know. If there's any books that's also on your to be read list, I would absolutely love to know. If there's any recommendations for Japanese literature that you think I will enjoy, let me know. And if I'm also curious, like, I wanna meet other booktubers. So if you have a channel, feel free to also comment so I can check you out as well, because there's nothing I love doing more than looking through small YouTubers' content, because it's just fun. And second of all, if you could check me out on Goodreads, I am under Louis Hughes online on Goodreads, but you can also keep better track of my reviews and reading on there. I will be coming out with some more reviews soon. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to review next. I've got loads of reviews on Goodreads as like a basis to give me ideas, but I'm not sure which book specifically to do for my next video. So if you've got any ideas, feel free to shoot them at me, and also let me know what you've been reading lately. So till the next one, see you later, bookworms. Bye.